Hi there, Roberto. So you sent us your first set of essays. Great job. Let's take a look at what you've written here. The first topic is doing an enjoyable activity with a child. Let's see what you said about this. Parents always wonder what are the optimum activities they can expose their offspring to, and generally aiming their scholar triumph, reading is the preferred exercise they pick. Through some studies from well-recognized universities, this essay will expose why other activities might be more beneficial than reading in developing children's skills. Okay, generally it's good. I like the way you wrote it, but there are some grammatical mistakes that we have to fix, okay? So why don't we start with them? It should be, parents always wonder what the optimum activities they can expose their offspring to are, okay, because this is actually an indirect question. It's not a direct question where you should use question order. Okay? And generally aiming for, you don't mean, that's not a collocation, so it's not a set of words that really make sense together. So, and generally aiming for their academic success, that would be a more appropriate expression here. Reading is the preferred exercise they pick. That's fine. Okay? And then here, be more beneficial than reading in developing children's. Here you needed an apostrophe S. Okay. Firstly, activities like playing on games console develop, usually I see game consoles, but okay. So game consoles develop important active skills that could not result from reading. I think this is what you mean. I don't think the rather belongs here. Such activities are able to boost children's apostrophe S spatial awareness, reflexes, and focus on the results. For example, research from USC stated that students who played video games for at least 3 hours a week outperformed their counterparts on cognitive tests by 20%. Okay, so you have to change the word order here a little. Therefore, such a pleasing activity, So, therefore, a pleasing activity such as playing a video game has proven to develop relevant skills that are otherwise neglected by only reading. All right, fine. Some grammatical problems, some word order problems, but otherwise it's fine. Okay, furthermore, reading might focus only on academic skills, not covering physical abilities that are also relevant for a youngster's apostrophe S development, and that can be translated into other cognitive skills. Sports, for example, give the opportunity for children. We never use the word kids in IELTS. It's considered too informal, so select children instead. So, give the opportunity for children to increase or grow or develop. Develop is probably the best word here. To develop their leadership skills as well, as well as to improve their teamwork creativity abilities. What does that mean, teamwork creativity abilities? Not quite clear, and to be honest, I don't think that those words really work together, but let's see how you developed it, so maybe we can come up with a better alternative. For instance, recent studies from Harvard, which pointed out that, here you needed an out, which pointed out that people who consistently played sports during their adolescence, okay, let's try it again. For instance, recent studies from Harvard, get rid of the comma, get rid of the which, and then it should say, pointed out that people who consistently played sports during their adolescence have 32% more chance to be successful in finding and keeping a job after college. Thus, it is clear that practicing sports has, okay, it's not have because it's sports, but it's has because it's practicing. Also has underlying benefits in developing social skills. Okay? To conclude from the examples given, reading only is insufficient in developing a complete toolbox of skills that children need to grow and become fruitful adults. Okay, fine. For your first essay, it's fine. You've understood the template. You've understood how to organize your ideas, so all of that is successfully executed. There is a problem, other than just the fact that I mentioned a few places where the language was awkward and like your Your grammar was a little off. There's something else that I want to point your attention to. Look what it says here. Better skills, which you talked about. So you talked about cognitive skills here, and here you talked about social skills, if I'm not mistaken. Physical abilities you talked about, leadership skills. Okay, but what you missed is this. Where is the part about imagination? You didn't really mention it anywhere. At one point you said teamwork, creativity abilities, but that really didn't make any sense, and you didn't develop it, so you didn't really talk about imagination, and so it doesn't really feel like it covers the need that you actually have here. Okay? That's one of the things that I really want you to really pay a lot of attention to as you progress in the course and with these essays. Make sure you really pay attention to the language of the prompt and are certain that you are answering the question as it has been asked to you. Okay? So keep that in mind. Let's take a look at your next essay. All right, so here it is, your second essay, schools, entertaining or educational. Let's see what you said. New ways of teaching have very often been discussed. Through some recent studies and arguments, this essay will show how important it is for schools to innovate and adapt their methods to the new demands of society. All right, it's fine, but there's absolutely nothing mentioned about entertainment. It just sounds like you're going to be talking about new pedagogy, new methodology, but you haven't said anything about entertainment. So if I were an examiner, this would raise a red flag to me. I would think, uh-oh, is this test taker going to actually address entertainment in class, or is he going to address something different? Okay? So it's really important from your introduction to make sure that you show the examiner, yes, I've understood the task. Yes, this is what I'm going to talk about. Okay, so your first paragraph. Firstly, it is scientifically, L-Y, proven that the majority of people learn more by experiencing than just listening. It is due, this, not it, but this is due to the fact that since a very young age, the main natural method a person absorb information is through observing and then experiencing it, not just listening. For example, research from Harvard show that students being taught through entertaining methods have increased their marks in more than 20%. Therefore, it is clear that new methods of teaching are key for engaging the students. Okay, there are a couple little areas here that I want to deal with. One of them is grammar, but there is something else. Again, now you mentioned entertaining methods, but then you mentioned experiencing. And I want to remind you what entertainment means and entertaining. It means something that creates fun, something that creates amusement. So just because you experience something, like when you're learning it, it doesn't necessarily make it fun. It makes it more engaging, but not necessarily more entertaining. So essentially what they're really doing here is they're checking your vocabulary to make sure that you understand the differences between all of these ideas, okay? So let's talk a little bit about this. So it is scientifically proven that the majority of people learn more by experiencing than just by listening. This is due to the fact that since a young age, the main method a person uses to absorb information is through observation and then experience, not only listening. For example, research from Harvard showed that students taught through entertaining methods increased their marks by more than 20%. Therefore, it is clear that new methods of teaching are key for engaging the students. Okay, so I think I already discussed why this might not be the best way to really answer the question. Engagement doesn't necessarily mean entertaining. So what is entertaining? Maybe games are entertaining. Maybe fun videos are entertaining. Maybe role plays where, I don't know, history is taught through students acting like different historical figures. Okay, so those are entertaining methods. Okay, Do they have engagement involved? Yeah, they do, but they're also fun and well, entertaining. Okay, so let's move on to the next paragraph. Additionally, children nowadays are exposed to a new society dynamic that is highly based on new technologies. Children now have access, change your word order, to social media, movie streaming, no S, and high connectivity with the rest of the world. In this culture, it is much easier to communicate with the students using tools that go in line with these society developments. For instance, recent studies from MIT show that teachers who use new forms of technology in their classes are 32% more capable of capturing students' attention. It demonstrates the need for educators to adapt to the new ways of communication of our society. Okay, so again, really you're just talking about technology, but not necessarily entertainment. So I feel like you're skimming the subject, like you've got the general idea, but you haven't really quite grabbed it entirely, okay? So you have to show me how using technology in the classroom is entertaining. Remember what we just said about entertainment. Okay, to conclude from the examples given, it is absolutely necessary for schools to rethink their traditional methods and really understand how the changes in the world impact the students and how they learn. Okay, grammatically it's fine. Again, I just want to remind you about entertainment. Okay, I think I've really kind of hammered that home. So I think you probably understand what I'm trying to suggest here, okay? So for your first essays, it's a good job. You've understood the template really well. I'm really happy to see that you're applying it nicely. So for your first essays, it's a good job. Now we just need you to kind of focus a little bit more on the task achievement, okay? So what you have to do now is correct these essays based on this correction. And then send that back to us. You also need to create an error correction list. On that list, you'll write down all the mistakes that were pointed out to you and what the suggested correction would be. You're going to add to this list with every video correction you get back. That's something for you to refer to so you can learn from your mistakes. And then, of course, the third thing you're going to do is write a new set of essays. Try to apply everything you've been learning in the course. So the best way to do that is to do this within the next 24 hours or so, okay? Go ahead, get started on that, and let's meet back here with your next set of essays. Good luck.